Welcome, and thank you for your interest in becoming a volunteer coordinator with Great Wall China Adoption and Children of All Nations Orphan Hosting Program. This presentation will provide you with some information about us and the role of the volunteer coordinator. This presentation will cover the goals of orphan hosting, how orphan hosting works for summer and winter sessions, the volunteer's role from beginning, middle, to end, and how you can get started to apply as a volunteer coordinator. Our orphan hosting has a few goals that make it distinct from other agencies' hosting programs. Orphan hosting with us is different because our goal is to find families for each and every child hosted through the program. Currently, we run 2 programs, one with China and one with Philippines. We'll discuss some of the differences between the countries a bit later in the presentation. Our programs run twice a year, once for a summer session and once for a winter session. Adoptions with our orphans will be processed through GWCA CAN, and host families are eligible to receive an adoption grant or scholarship to move forward with adoption. This section will talk a little bit about how the parts of orphan hosting work. You'll see that volunteers are the biggest wheel. That's because it's your work with families that allows our program to run smoothly. Our program begins with families interested in hosting applying through our orphan hosting website. Our staff reaches out to these families to discuss their interest in hosting and any potential concerns with the family's application. Each of our families goes through a close screening process, and those with commitments to adoption are given priority over those who may not be interested in adoption. Host-only families are asked to host a child as an advocate, seeking out resources and other families that may be interested in adoption. We provide specific training for you to discuss methods of hosting to advocate once you have signed on as a volunteer coordinator. Once families have contracted with us and been matched with a child, you become their liaison. You'll help the family submit their documentation, prepare for the arrival of the kiddos, and be there as a support system while the children are here. Again, we provide specific information for you on preparing documentation and walking families through hosting. We provide training sessions for you, other volunteers, and the families throughout the program. You will help us pass important information along to the families, such as training guides and FAQ information. Our China program is led by Gwca, or China Center for Children's Welfare and Adoption, and they make the rules. Typically, children in orphan hosting from China are 6 to 13 and are healthy and older or have a special need. Families can share photos of their children while they are with the family. In the Philippines, the Inter-Country Adoption Board, or ICAB, makes the rules. Children are typically 6 to 16 and healthy. The biggest difference with our Philippine program is that photos cannot be shared of the children online. All children are declared adoptable before entering our orphan hosting program. Many from China will have special medical needs and may have been abandoned at birth and in institutions all their lives. In the Philippines, while the children typically do not have medical needs or have very minor needs, they may have a background of abuse or neglect that leads to corresponding behavioral issues. Some of these children from both countries may have lived with foster families rather than in orphanages. However, all of these children have full profiles available and have been screened by the foreign government and by interview staff and have been approved for hosting by both. Now we'll go into a little more detail about your role in this process so that you can decide if a volunteer coordinator role is right for you. Once families have contracted, you will be assigned a region of families. Each volunteer coordinator can expect to be assigned around 7, but no more than 10 families each. Your region may be in the same one in which you live, but depending on the location of our host families, you may find yourself living in the South and supporting families in the Midwest. We'll provide you with the resources you need specifically to support your families. During the program, you'll attend an orientation training and receive a tentative weekly schedule. You'll find that you receive weekly emails with important information, including your VPC login from our hosting management system. You'll be trained on this system, which allows families to upload their paperwork in a timely manner. You'll also be there to walk the family through a home safety visit completion. We've streamlined the process so that you're functioning largely through email to support your families. All of the information you'll need to answer their question will be at your fingertips. At the midpoint of the program, you'll ensure that families have completed their documentation and have all of their training materials. At this point, families are preparing for the child's arrival. You can help them prepare for what type of food to have, how to have fun with the kiddos, and all the little questions that will crop up. Once the children arrive, you ensure that families are completing their weekly reports. You can assist the families with medical appointments, since many of the children in our program have never received medical attention for the most basic needs, like their eyes and dental work. You can help families host an advocate. We also have a volunteer on emergency call for while the children are in the U.S. Near the end of the program, we'll host a pre-departure call to prepare families for the parting. Your role is so important to GWCA CAN and really allows us to provide these opportunities for families and children. This is a comprehensive presentation that provides you the information you need to decide if you can be a volunteer hero and help our orphan hosting program be the best experience it can be for families and children. If you're ready to get started, you can apply to help orphans find forever families by contacting a program coordinator at casey@childrenofallnations.com or calling 512-323-9595, extension 3062, to have an application sent to you. Your dedication makes the host program possible and creates forever families. Thank you for your interest, and we look forward to seeing your application.